Morning, everyone. So great to see all of you in person. I'm here to introduce you to James Wen. He works at the Civics Center. Many of you worked with the Civics Center last year with a virtual voter registration drive, but excited to see what you guys can collaborate in person. So James will give a little short presentation.
How's everyone doing today? Good? Good, happy. Can I just get a show of hands really quickly? How many of you are high school educators and how many are, okay, great. Wow, fabulous. Well, first, just as someone whose life was profoundly shaped by the teachers in my life, I want to thank you all for what you're doing and for going really above and beyond through SRLA to improve the lives of the students you work with. So first, thank you. I'm here today to talk to you about High School Voter Registration Week, which is a program that the Civic Center runs from this year, September 27th through October 1st. It happens the fourth week of September every year, and this is a national week of action where the Civic Center trains high school students and educators to register voters in their schools. So if you're not familiar with us, a little bit about us. We are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that empowers high school students to make civic change in their schools. Sometimes that's through hour-long trainings, sometimes that's through semester-long trainings. Since our founding in 2018, we've worked with students in 36 states. Last year alone, we helped over 200 students plan voter registration drives in their high schools. And just, can I get a volunteer or someone to call out, how old do you think you have to be to register to vote in California? Does anyone know? 16, exactly. Got some good civic-minded people here. Does anyone want to take a guess at the pre-registration rate here in LA County? Like what percentage of eligible 16 and 17-year-olds are pre-registered to vote? 20. 25. 5. Any other guesses? 3. Okay, so we're at 10%. For a state that prides itself on being very voter-friendly, this is not a good score, right? And this is actually down 1% from a year ago, which means that we have a lot of work to do here in LA County in order to make sure our young people are registered to vote by the time that they're able to vote for the first time. And the data shows that young people, when they vote in the first 3 elections that they're eligible to vote in, are much more likely to become lifelong voters and participants in our democracy. And that's why we think it's so important that young people get registered while they're still in the high school space, while they're surrounded by people who probably haven't registered to vote yet. And we also believe that young people inviting each other into the democratic process is the most effective way to get them into that process and to create lifelong voters. So how does it work? If you're interested in bringing a student into, or bringing your school into High School Voter Registration Week, the process is actually pretty straightforward. So the first thing you do is you, your students, or just students, whatever permutation of people you want, can come to one of our free 1-hour workshops. These are held over Zoom. You'll see the link at the end of the slideshow here where you can access those. We train you on voter registration laws and basic strategies you can think about when registering students to vote in your school. Next, we will send you Democracy in a Box. I've got a little box here, and please, I'll be back there for a while. You can come grab a sticker, grab a lollipop if you want to, and candy. We don't have our custom printed boxes here today, but we'll have those in a couple weeks' time. And so we send that to your student organizers. It has a bunch of stuff like clipboards, pens, candy, stickers. We can include voter registration forms because you can't print those out in California. A tote bag and flyers, a whole bunch of stuff to make the voter registration drive as easy and fun and social as possible for students in the school. Then you hold your drive. We may be able to come on site. I know schools, especially this year, it might not be possible, but really it's designed for the students to lead the effort. Some students, as you can see in this picture, will just do a tabling event during lunch or break. Sometimes we'll have students do in-class walkthroughs where if you have an advisory period or a history class, an English class, where you can set aside about 5 minutes at the beginning of class and students can come, pass out forms, and present about why voting is important to them. That's a great way to access, a large swath of the student body. And then sometimes we'll have students do tabling at sporting events, car line, after school, what have you. And all of this will be happening during high school voter registration week. So on social media, we'll have students uplifting their voter registration drives, and it's really designed to help students feel connected to this larger movement of young people who care about democracy, who care about participating in it. Lastly, you all are SRLA folks, so you know about surveys. We do ask that you fill out a survey at the end of the drive. Just let us know how many voter registration forms you collected. We'll also let you know how many online registrations you collected if you used a custom VR link that we provide to you. This is actually a really exciting survey for us this year because we're conducting one of the first ever sort of academic studies on the effectiveness of youth-led voter registration work. I'm kind of shocked that nobody has studied it before, but specifically in LA County and Orange County, we're trying to study the effects of that work so that hopefully more people will be able to do it in the future. And lastly, we wrap up by giving all of your organizers community service certificates if they have any requirements for moving on to the next grade or any kind of honor society. We can provide those community service certificates. So that's really the entire process. I'm keeping this pretty short and sweet. I know you've got a packed schedule. But if you're ready to get started, if you want to participate in high school voter registration week, all of our workshops, there's a calendar at thecivicscenter.org. There's a little S there at the end of civics. Keep a note of that. It's a common misspelling. High school voter registration week is September 27th through October 1st. Of course, the Civics Center will be coming to as many SRLA events as we can, so get used to seeing this face. I'll be seeing you again. And if you want to reach out to me, if you have any questions about that process or how voter registration might work on your campus, my email is here. It's james@thecivicscenter.org. I also have my number up there if you want to shoot me a text. And again, I'll be hanging out at this table right over here. If you want to check out Democracy in a Box, the free supplies that we'll send to your students, and grab a sticker that you can take and put on a water bottle or share with some democracy-excited students. So thank you so much for having me. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.